What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a good Friday. Bobby Fire, Eric Sheets Haber. We're going to be talking through this, 7-game slate. I did not do great last night. I didn't do horrible, but I just, when you're playing just the lottery, it's not you're not gonna win most of the days, and that's just the way that it is. But still had a couple of fighting chances. Didn't quite do anything great, and then football was wild. It was a great game, and I did not get there in the football. Sheets, how did you do last night?
I did good. I won a couple of thousand in football.
Beautiful.
I was in contention for the first prize, and then shit happens.
Yeah.
But I wonder how Brandon did with his Tim Patrick captain.
He did great, I think.
I would hope. You know what? I would hope so.
Yeah, he was right near the top when I was last checking last night. I think he said, I think he won like 6,000 or 7,000 off of like $150.
That's awesome.
So it's pretty great. Yeah.
What did you think of the fourth down call?
I hated it. I don't care that it worked. I like the attitude that they have. I like that it's what we always do. But in reality, it honestly is. I just think it's really bad. Like you're going to lose that game a huge portion of the time. You go from being a massive favorite to. I mean, it would have been 40 seconds left, and they would have had to go basically the same distance they would have had to gone to win the game. The whole thing didn't make a lot of sense to me. Just to be honest, but I do like that that's sort of their identity, and that's what they do. That part I respect. What did you think?
I wonder how it all came about. I wonder if those were the numbers, and he just kind of went with it, or he just kind of said, "I don't give an F. I'm just going for it. I don't care what the hell's going on."
I think that's what happened, because that's what he said. That's what he says all the time. I mean, he did it a couple times earlier in the game where it was kind of, we did it on his own 20 or whatever. That's just who they are, and hey, I respect it. But it's gay. I wouldn't want. I don't know. I wouldn't have wanted that one.
I didn't get into again. I didn't really check to see if what the analytics. I imagine it was probably a small mistake. I don't think it was that big of a mistake. I'm not sure.
I think I'm pretty sure all the analytics would say not to do that there, but
I know not to, but I wonder by how much.
How much? Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see that,
because a lot of it had to do with how much time was left, I think.
Yeah, it just wasn't. It's just. I mean, you're supposed to trust your defense also, and the whole thing. And the fact that Goff tripped while he handed the ball off would have been almost looked like really poetic justice, like coming back to bite them. But actually. Yeah. Anyway, so look, this is an interesting slate. Look, what happens right now just is not going to is just the value is going to be there later today, most likely. If yesterday's any indication, we had nobody projecting out of this world this morning. And my guess is by this evening, that's going to change. That's just my guess. Anything that you noticed before we jump into game by game?
Well, I'm literally just looking at it for the first time. So let me just see something real quick. Yeah, I was going over, all this technical stuff with Goldie for the last hour. So I'm just kind of wrapping it up in my head. Yeah, we'll get to him. You'll have another chance to bust with D'Angelo Russell, I guess. I mean, that's my initial look. But I don't have anybody right now projecting over 6x, so we'll see how it develops throughout the course of the day, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that's where I'm at as well. So we can use either of our screens if you want to.
I'll use the DraftKings one this time.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. So there's nobody again for me who's either standing out as well. One thing I did get away with, I ended up with like 58% of Jokic last night, and I had some nice builds. I just couldn't quite thread the needle. It's really hard to win those giant tournaments.
Yeah, I had this decent amount of Jokic too. I thought he was going to get like 90 for a while there.
It did look like it, yeah.
But then he kind of flattened out, whatever. He only had 75 or whatever the hell he had.
78, yeah.
And it was as you guys saw live, it was a wild slate to play, just because of when all the news just kind of came out. And then at the end of the day, what ended up happening with Bagley, right, is that he ended up starting to smash, and then they didn't play him anymore.
Yep. That's the experience. That's what you get with them.
That is the experience.
And then neither of the 3K guys started for the Spurs. So,
really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Sohan started instead, so neither of them started.
Oh my God!
So that was weird. And then Magbo didn't start. It was Fernando. So it was like the whole thing was just like weird.
You know what I did? I finally did everybody a solid. I mean, when I actually, you know what? I mean, I'm looking back now at my NBA. Let me just look at this real quick. Yeah. cashed and stuff because it was I guess it was so hard for everybody. I guess
Yeah.
that maybe. Hold on, let me just see something. Recent NBA. I'm doing it on my phone real quick. Yeah, so I got 17th in the splash, 20th in the Showtime, 76th in the mid-range jumper. So in these big buy-ins, I actually did kind of okay with my 300 points. You know what I mean? Which is
Right.
that was all you were going to need. But it was a tough slate to. Oh, so the big smash. I mean, if you had Desumnu, you were a hero.
Yeah. I ended up with like 20% of it, so I had some chances.
That's like more than he gets like the whole season. Like
I know, and it was like he had done it on like 7 shots at one point. He had like 60. Like he's only taken like 7 shots. And I ended up with the chalky Royce O'Neal, which I still maintain was a terrible play. I just didn't.
How did he do?
He put up like 30 something, but he was like 6 of 7 from 3 or something like that. You know what I mean? It was like there was no consistency to why it happened. It just happened to be red hot shooting. It wasn't even like he played a ton of minutes.
So already I see like an error in my projections. I'm seeing that Kristoff is out. Is that right?
I've got him as out, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, and I think I had him. Oh no, I didn't have him. Okay, good. Oh wow, so not bad.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to get started? As long as I'm here over Sabres, so I might as well start.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Orlando, Philly? You have anything here? You know what I have? I have actually Franz Wagner.
Mm-hmm.
I have him, not great point per dollar or anything like that, but I have him as reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
I have him as an okay play. What else? That's what I got off such momentum there, and then I just kind of stalled. I have nothing else.
I don't mind either of the Wagners in very different lights, but I never mind if we don't have much value to take a shot with Mo Wagner, and I also wouldn't mind taking a shot with Batadze, but nobody I have as a priority, including Franz. I like him. I just don't think that it's not a great matchup. We just saw this exact same matchup. And then we have Drummond questionable on the Philadelphia side, which is sort of confusing things because if he plays and starts, I would have some interest in Drummond. But that's pretty much all I have. It's not my favorite game. If I can go ahead and avoid it, I'd be happy to because it's it's a Lone Island game. So any delaying may make a difference later today. So I probably am going to be mostly off the first game with the exception of potentially one of the Wagners.
So you see what you got. If you guys should see what I'm doing here. So I'm uploading the things that I'm going to play today. Into the SaberSim entry file. This way, when it comes time to actually fill stuff, it knows what tournaments I'm playing, so it can sim these things pretty quickly. And I'm also running like initial sims. Again, not because I expect to be playing this, but it's nice to know first of all, what you could be playing. And also, for me, if you have time, and I'm a really big believer in this, the more reps you can give yourself in all of life, whether it be playing basketball or trading stocks or whatever, like the better. So if I have time to just kind of run a build just to see it run and to click around and just get quicker and more efficient at it, for me, I'm going to do it. Like I promise you right now, what's now in my DraftKings lineup is not going to even remotely resemble what's going to be there at the end. But yet still, I think it's a good exercise.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, I've been running like 50 or 60 of them a day just to try to get practice. Yeah, of going back and forth. And I honestly thought for a second, maybe when I had some trouble with it yesterday, maybe that was part of the reason why. Because I was like, maybe I've just done this too many times. But I don't think that really was.
No, let Jordan come on when you do a Zoom call, and he can actually go and share. You can share your screen. Yeah, and he can like point out. You know what I mean? I'm sure it's just something stupid.
But I don't think I can replicate it because it didn't happen in basketball. It only happened in football last night, and there's no way I can replicate it when it's a one time. And that's when I keep running into these one time problems. So I'll get in touch with them. I wrote them. Yeah. We'll get in touch. All right, the Lakers in Atlanta.
Well, as always, Clint Capella looks good because it's 12:15 p.m. He's
been good.
But whatever. But it's funny. Like he started off. I had him the other day. He started off with like 0 for like the first quarter. He ended up like 20 after the first, going into the half or something like that. Yeah. I have both of the centers from Atlanta looking good here actually. Both the Kongus is dirt cheap at 4,400. So I have both these guys looking pretty good. DeAndre Hunter, I have him looking all right at 5K. I have Ricochet, whatever, 3,900. I mean, it's a 230 point total. And then you have D'Angelo Russell again showing up right now as the top point per dollar play on the slate, even though they've moved him up to 5,400. But he plays. He's going to play 30 minutes minimum, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
They even gave him some blowout run for no reason the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally just to try to get the chalk to hold. Still couldn't quite get there. He's definitely one thing I will tell you about D'Angelo Russell. Okay, at 4,800, it's not as bad, but he's a tough sweat. Like when you're watching him for DFS.
You're watching him as a Laker fan.
No. I mean, on this, especially on this team, he's a tough sweat because, okay, he might be considered himself the point guard, but he doesn't have the ball that much. And he'll take some of those mid-range shots which are tilting, and then you get this idea that he might actually get a rebound. He boxes out okay, but he's just so short that everybody else's rebounds over him. So it's definitely a tough sweat, but he's cheap enough where it's not going to matter. So he's 40% owned, which certainly makes sense. Now, I will also say that you have to like the Lakers in this game. I mean, there's just no possible way. I mean, there's a possible way to coming off of that. I mean, you've been a Laker fan since you've been born, right?
You don't realize this has been every game for the Lakers. This is like their last 6 games have all been like this.
They literally do not guard anybody. I mean,
LeBron does not play defense. Literally does not even try. Doesn't pretend. He sort of stands there with his arms up.
And I'll say this: it's not. Well, maybe not anymore, but it's not exactly a team you don't want to play no defense against. I mean, because they can. Yeah. You don't guard Trey. He's gonna shred you. You know what I mean? And if they don't help on the pick and roll, he and Capella are gonna shred you. So. But I do think the Lakers are gonna put up a good game here, which means I'm not worried about blowing out or anything like that. But so look, 230 point total. I think you should play this game. You can play Russell. You could take another shot at Connect. You could play LeBron. I think LeBron's got to have a little bit of pride. I know what you said that. Well, he was all right. Listen, he's the leader of that team. Forever. So when that team when that happens. He's going to take some pride in that. I think he's going to have a good game. So I do like LeBron. I do like Russell. I do like Connect. I do like both centers from Atlanta. And I mean, you can certainly play Trey, even though he's not the greatest price in the world. And then Ricochet, Hunter. I mean, I think you could stack this game up pretty much.
I'm on the same page. This is the game that I'll be the most heavy on. The Hawks have been playing really well, and the Lakers are literally going in the worst direction. I don't know if it's fixable entirely for the Lakers as currently constructed. I really don't. They look horrendous, and it's been every game. It's pretty much after they got off to that hot start, they've been just terrible basketball. And like you said, they don't play defense. Well, Anthony Davis plays defense. Nobody else either knows how to or does actually choose to play defense. So I think this has a chance to be way up there in the total. I like Russell. I like Davis better than LeBron. And I like Connect tonight. I think the Connect is with the Atlanta gives up a ton of threes. They play fast. Let's go play these guys. Ricochet super cheap. Kongwu super cheap, as you mentioned. So is Capella. I actually like the Capella play. He's been really good. Yeah, the minutes haven't been crazy, but this guy's putting up 30 every game. It seems like. So I'm in on this as a game stack. I think I'll have at least 25% of my lineups. Stacking of this game. All right. Milwaukee and Boston.
Giannis is 12K, but he projects 5 points higher than the next highest guy. And I mean, not only that, but the way I'm looking at it, you have Giannis projecting 5 points ahead of the next highest guy, and then the next highest guy after that is on the same team. I have Davis and LeBron next. Actually, that's not true. Then you have Wemby and Sabonis and Tatum. And then you got Wagner too, so it's not that big a deal. But listen, if more value opens up, sure, you can get to him. It's going to be hard with what we have right now. That's why he's currently listed 5% ownership. So we'll just have to see. On the Celtics, and I don't really have anything else in Milwaukee. I mean, we just always have to make sure we know he's playing. But I imagine that the Celtics are going to play everybody if they can.
Yeah, they've actually announced everything pretty much this morning. They said Tatum is in, Horford is available, Porzingis is out. So thanks to the Celtics for getting it to us early today.
I mean, Tatum could, obviously Tatum can have a good game. Nobody really projects all that great, but I don't know. You doing any business this game?
Only Drew Holiday probably for me. Maybe I would consider Jaylen Brown, Derek White. They're all fine to me. I just don't see any reason I need nothing stands out. I would just say it like that.
Oh, this is like a thing, sort of, right? This is like reverse revenge. This is like revenge, sort of, for Drew Holiday. No.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, and he's 5,100, and yeah, it's a. I mean, it's not in Milwaukee, which you would like, but he's still. I mean, he's a pretty nice guy, and he was definitely pretty caught off guard by that them getting rid of him the year after winning the title. Like a little strange. This is the other that we got another one coming up. This is going to be the game where we want to target also along with the Lakers.
I suppose so. So I have Obi Toppin at 3,600. You kind of, I don't say stumbled into him, but you had him the other day. Pretty nice. Obi Toppin 3,600. McConnell 4,700. Miles Turner 6,700. I think all those guys are good values. Chicago, once again, you have Jalen Smith at only 3,300. Really projecting only 5x, but I'm just kind of like reading off my board here. Vooch looks okay. What else do I have? Halliburton is only 8,300. It's a good spot. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe we should just pound this game too. It's a 2 million point total, close spread. Sure, why not?
Yeah, we've got the big question about what's happening with Kobe White with the Bulls, because I like everything on Indiana. Like I like Halliburton a lot in this matchup. I know that he's streaky and he's probably going to have ownership, which is not usually like what I love to do. But I do think that in this matchup, it's going to be hard for me at this pace to just not want to play some of them. I like Siakam. I have it Halliburton, Siakam, then Turner. But I also want to get to some Mathurin, and I want to get to some Toppin, and I want to get to some McConnell. So I'll have a lot of exposure to this game for sure. On the Bulls side, it's really hard to judge this early out without knowing about Kobe White, because as we saw last night, somebody from the Bulls kind of has to smash in general if he's out. I didn't necessarily expect Dosunmu to put up 700 fantasy points, but that was, I'm not going to say it's not repeatable. He did it, his usage though was below 20%. He happened to have, what did he have? Ended up with 10 or 11 assists in the triple double, right? Yeah, 10 assists. How many assists did he have? Yeah, 11 assists. I don't know if that's duplicatable, but if Kobe White's out again, I think you'll have a bunch of things that stand out for the Bulls where nothing really stands out right now. Maybe on the back-to-back, you could say Jalen Smith, because Vooch doesn't play great on back-to-backs. I don't mind that idea. He only played 12 minutes in the last game. Jalen Smith, maybe the back-to-back he gets some extra run. So he's the one who currently projects the best for me, but I will probably go out of my way to get to these guys anyway, just because the game matchup is so good. Yeah, I'm just going to address what Conscious Machine is saying. Nobody's gaslighting anything. Nobody's trying. No roto grinders, nor on any other site. Nobody's trying to get you to play the wrong plays so they can win. That's just never been a thing. It's never happened. Never will happen. It just doesn't. It's just not the way things work. I want to clear that up. People have said that forever. It's been like an ongoing thing since, a friend of mine won the Millionaire Maker, but it wasn't with some of the players. It was a core tag on Wednesday, and by Sunday he won the Millionaire Maker. Nobody's trying to trick you to get off plays. I just want to tell you guys that. Sorry, wanted to address that really quickly. Sacramento in San Antonio.
So what exactly is gaslighting? Everybody says that a lot.
It's not necessarily being used the way that I mean. He's talking about they're misdirecting people. Like is basically okay. That's the way I'm interpreting it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's the way it's interpreted. Yes, I didn't think that's what the term meant and stuff. Like even my kids are older than Gen Z at this point. So I know gaslighting's bad. I feel like you're lighting them on fire, right? Or something like that. I'll Google. I'll figure.
That's pretty good.
What about so Sacramento at San Antonio? I'm getting all kinds of Stefan or whatever Castle for some reason. Actually, not that much, but like 25% of him. But aside from that, I mean, I'd like to think that if Wemby's not hurt, that he could put up 1 million. against it's Sabonis. Sabonis is not exactly Bill Russell down there. So I like. I imagine he looks like a good play. And on Sacramento, as I mentioned, I'm currently getting Castle, and that's pretty much it. DeRozan, is he okay here? I don't know. Chris Paul, again, someone not for me. You know what I mean? I just don't ever need to play him, really. What do you got here?
DeRozan, historically a very good revenge guy in general. So, but I would look at it more in Toronto than I probably would here. But I actually like DeRozan a little bit, so I'll bite on that one for now. But it's not just the revenge thing. This Isaac Jones projection feels a little surprising.
Which team?
For Sacramento, he's 3,200, and it feels like it's like I don't mind it, but I'm not going to do it as
Davidson has him at 18. I have him at 13.
Yeah, I think 13 seems like a more reasonable, although he's been at, 15, 18, and 21 his last three, but it doesn't seem like, I mean, it's still just limited minutes. If other value doesn't open up, maybe consider him, but I as of right now, I only have DeRozan as a priority.
You think Saberson is gaslighting the people? The Isaac Jones?
Maybe, I don't know.
Or the Kevin Huerter, they have him at 20.
Yeah.
Well, that's not much. He's 5,200.
Yeah, that's not, yeah. San Antonio side, I as of right now, I just like Wemby. I like I like Wemby and Castle. I actually think the projections are a little bit low on Castle from anything that I've looked at today. I think they should be a little bit higher. He's been good. And it is a back-to-back, but he only played 22 minutes last night. So I like the Castle idea. And then, of course, if Wemby's out, we have to have a really weird conversation about speculation and who's going to start and what's going to happen and all that stuff, because Zach Collins played pretty well last night and they struggled without him. And then he only played 22 minutes though, and Bassey only played 13. So they liked going with that Sohan as the 5 lineup, which is a little bit weird. And there's no Barnes tonight, so it's just kind of a weird game. I want to understand what's happening with Wemby and make sure that he's for sure going to play before I commit to anything. But he's the one I like the most on San Antonio anyway.
You know what? I didn't want to give the Conscious Machine any credit for this, but you know what? I'm not agreeing with him, but I would like to say that this was always one of my pet peeves about content, which is why and I'll get into it in a minute, which is why I always like to tell people exactly what I'm doing and do my stuff live or whatever. Mm-hmm. Is when I was just consuming content, to watch these experts talk about who they like and then them not play them. Okay, that was always a very tilting thing, and I know that there's something. There's more to it. In other words, just because, like I said, I can tell you right now who looks good now, but that doesn't mean I'm going to play him, right? I can tell you who I like 15 minutes before lock. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to play him. But there is a certain amount of implied, I don't know, like assumption that if you're going to deliver content and say something's good, that you're going to put your money behind it in some way, Mm-hmm. So, but I'm not saying that RotoGrinders or any companies intentionally saying, "Oh, I'm going to go play Wemby so that everybody plays him so that I can fade him." I don't think that's happening. But I do think that all content providers should be at least a little bit. Listen, I don't expect everybody to do what I do, but just a little bit more transparent. If they're going to listen, and we talked about this when we had our conversation about the industry a couple of days ago, that okay, you could be a player. Or you could be a content provider. And if you're just a content provider who don't play, then I think you get a free pass. You know what I mean? Like you say who you think you should play. Listen, I don't play. So, don't ask me. This is what I recommend. And if you're a player, then yeah, you play who you play. But if you're both, it's kind of an interesting thing. Do you have to play who you're recommending or don't you? You know what I mean? I don't know. These are things I think about. Mm-hmm. But I do think it should be a little more transparent with where on the spectrum they are. Like if someone comes out and says, "Listen, I play, $100,000 a day, and this is who I like," I think that it's implicit in that you're probably playing some of it.
Yeah. The problem is also like with football though, like when you're writing articles on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and then everything changes on Sunday morning, you're not going to be able to catch up with that. So it's going to be totally different.
Of course.
I feel bad for a guy I like a lot because he got so much crap for it when he won the million.
No, absolutely. But on the other hand, if you're gonna go live before lock, and it's 648, and you say, oh my God, Bagley at 8, Bagley with this projection, I am fading the crap out of him. I'll tell you that if you say that, and then you end up like winning a lot with like 70% of him, that's bad. It's just bad. I don't know.
But it is different, the game this day. I'm sorry to take turn, but I think it's an interesting conversation because the game is different. Like I said, there's no way I want to have, and I kept limiting my number of Royce O'Neal. But as my lineups were doing extremely well at the beginning, then I started getting him on the late swap because he was on the 80s. He was on the last level of games, and I just kept needing that 5K guy. There wasn't like another guy to put in there, so I ended up with 51% of him. Where my initial ownership, I had 0% of them.
Not to mention what happens when late swap comes into the into the equation. Exactly. All right. So with all that said, we like Stefan Castle.
Yes. Okay. We can move, I think, over to the 7 o'clock, the 10 Eastern games, Minnesota and Golden State.
So now this would be a good example of if DraftKings wanted to break the slate up. But I think, like you were saying, that because it's only 5 games before, that they want to include them, I suppose, because it's a 2-hour break between.
But there's just not enough games, I think.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
So once again, getting market weight of Mike Conley, at 22%. Again, sort of market weight of Nickeil Alexander-Walker being cheap. But again, we'll see what value kind of shows up later. So what am I getting from Golden State? Like nothing. Wow, like 0. What do you like from this game?
So I think Gobert is a reasonable play. It's he's cheap enough. I don't mind it. I think Anthony Edwards is probably my favorite play here, just because he's not going to get much ownership. He hasn't been great lately. It's not really been like his breakthrough year like a lot of people expected. But Edwards, Naz Reid are a little bit interesting to me, and Gobert. I know that Randall's projecting well, but as of right now, I probably not going to do that myself. This Kevon Looney thing, and I'm trying to figure something out here, but I understand that I don't really know. I feel like this is another wonky-ish projection. It feels chasey and trying to figure out. I don't know. I don't really understand. I don't really have anything on Golden State, which I guess is probably okay with Curry coming back and everybody else priced up a little bit because Curry was out before. But I don't really have anything I love.
Okay.
If Draymond's out, maybe that would be something, but we probably won't have that information. All right. Like Draymond, I think is probably going to be out. Actually, I just don't know who I want. I don't know who I want to go. They just play too many guys. That's all I can say. All right, Utah and Portland.
Okay. I was actually getting a decent amount of a couple of guys here. So I was getting 35% Lowry Markkanen in the late night hammer, and the 25% DeAndre Ayton, and the 22% Anthony Simons. If this were not like a Friday night, I would opt for a late night sweat for this one with these 2 10 o'clockers. But so I like all 3 of these. Mark right now, like Markkanen, Ayton, Simons, they all look pretty good. I haven't done one of these in a while. One of these late night TV, what do we call it? Late night, good late night TV games. Remember we used to do that with the Sacramento games?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's 225 total. A couple of guys project well. Why not?
Yeah, I'm totally fine with a bunch of plays, but there's nothing that I feel like I love. Scoot Henderson being questionable is again, if he's out, I don't mind going back to Shaedon Sharpe. I don't mind Shaedon Sharpe anyway, so I think you could gamble that way if we don't have information on that. I think you could take a shot with Delano Banton. Markkanen looks fine like he always does. Keontae George looks fine like he always does, but there's nothing that really stands out to me here, and I would probably I know I like the idea of waiting and all that stuff in general, but I just don't like these late games enough to do so. And maybe I'm biased because I want to have more free time on Friday night, but I think I'm probably going to be playing mostly the games before the 10 o'clock window.
Got to be like those guys, like those nerdy tenors that does your lineups, then just like go to sleep and you wake up in the morning to see how you did, I guess.
Yeah, I don't even know how people can do that.
I can't do it. I just can't do that.
I can't do it either. I don't know how anyone does it in basketball.
A lot of people do. I can't do it.
Well, the fact that a lot of people do should mean there's edge, which unfortunately has not been the case for me recently, but maybe it'll catch up at some point. Anyway, we'll be live at 6 Eastern tonight, and may do another football look. I'm probably gonna end up doing that tomorrow, actually.
Tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gonna probably do it myself because I just did like some new projections now. Actually, my first set of real ones. I think that Garindo might actually be up over 5% right now. Hopefully this state locks soon. Otherwise, it might get over 10.
Well, if you're gonna do one, let me know, and I'll pop on with you. If not, I'll do mine tomorrow.
No, I'll do it with you then because I will. I have to do this thing with Goldie though. I have to work this thing out.
So want to say 20 minutes or something, half hour?
I don't know how long it's gonna take.
Okay,
you know what? Count me out of that. Actually,
okay. I'll plan on doing it tomorrow. But if you feel like going on, just hit me up and let me know.
All right, sounds good.
All right, sounds good, man. Good luck to everybody. We'll see you guys late at 6 Eastern.